Hey YouTube, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. The two new super cool CR-18P trucks from Hobby Plus. The Rock Van and the Trail Hunter or T-Hunter. Super nice, super performance, really cheap. And yeah, which one is the better one? Which one should I buy? People say the Trail Hunter is made for performance and the Rock One is simply super, super, super cool. Of course, I have an opinion. In this video, I will tell you my opinion, which one I prefer, and I highly prefer one of those two. Because when I received those, they are said to have the same chassis. They do have the same chassis, nearly the same chassis. However, the Hunter does have longer shocks and a little bit a shorter wheelbase. And the Hunter should be the performer and the Rock Van should be the super cool one. However, I did not find this because I tested both in my microcrawler capability tests in episode 17, the Rock Van, and in episode 20, the T-Hunter, and they performed nearly equal. But let's do first things first. When I received the Rock Van, I simply thought, how cool is this truck? It's nearly perfect. It's not perfect, of course. Both of those trucks do come with Phillips head screws. Both do come with bushings instead of ball bearings, no interior nor inner fenders. But what do you expect? What do you expect for 120 bucks? So for me, it's so super cool, and it's for 120 nearly perfect. Yes, it has this front bumper which is not helpful in climbing. Approach angle is much worse than in the Trail Hunter. However, I really loved it. I loved it so much that I immediately ordered a second body for a further truck. You can buy a clear body, and we'll make a CR-18 or CR-18P with this body, probably some van. Have to paint them. What did I not like when I received the Rock Van? I didn't like the cold white LEDs, but they are not there anymore. You see, I changed them to warm white, and it has low beam, high beam, and it also has turning lights. Those fog lights I did mount, but there was not much more I could complain about for this price and such a super cool truck. Wow. But when I received my Trail Hunter, there was quite a bit I did not like so much. First of all, I really hate this battery compartment here. Not only because the position is of course not good, the heavy battery is so much up there, but it's a pain to open. Not so much to open, it's a pain to close this with and to get all the wires and plugs into this box. So I really, wow, what's that? I hate it. And why is the on-off switch here? This doesn't look cool at all. The truck does look cool, that's fact, but the Rock Van looks cooler. It does have a much better approach angle, that's fact, but the performance in my tests was not really better. They did perform nearly equally. As already mentioned, both trucks do come with bushings instead of bearings, what's not super cool, and you need quite a lot of ball bearings to exchange the bushings against bearings. So here they are. I give you a list again. You need 20 pieces of the small 3mm inner diameter, 6mm outer, and 2.5mm width, and you need 6 of the small 2x5 by 2.5 millimeters. You need 4 of those larger ones, which are 5 by 8 by 2.5 millimeter, and those ones I had to order. I didn't have because I did already exchange the bushings to bearings in my Rock Van. I will put those into the Trail Hunter. You need 2 8 by 12 by 3.5 millimeters for the front portal axles. Equal in weight, the Trail Hunter is a little bit lighter. It's 387 grams, while the Rockwan does have 404 grams, and the Rockwan does have a bit longer wheelbase, 159.7 versus 158.5. That's probably because of the shocks, because the Trailhunter does have longer shocks than the Rockwan. What I do not like, you can't take off the hood, the cabin. It's quite a mess and quite a bit of work to do it. I will do this later. While in the Rockwan, you simply have to pull out two body clips. Okay, body clips, pain again. And come out body clips, then you get into the interior. And that's more or less a normal old Hobby Plus CR-18 chassis. That's nearly exactly the same. I will take the bodies off later and show it in detail to you. But what I did not like in the Trailhunter in performance is, for example, its left front tire. It lifts it much earlier than the Rockwan. The Rockwan also lifts its front tire. So here you can see it on 50-degree incline. Both can do 51 degrees. The Trailhunter significantly lifts its tires higher. The Rockwan lifts its tires too, and even on only 45 degrees, the Trailhunter does lift its tires easily. They showed nearly the same performance in my climbing tests, so both could go up 51 degrees on a rough surface. On the smooth, the van was a little bit better, and both could go down, stop and reverse 49 degrees, so same performance. However, where's a big difference too, that's the tilt angle. The Trailhunter does for much earlier or significantly earlier than the Rockwan. That's a surprise, but maybe because of its higher shocks or longer shocks. The Trailhunter did fall on to the left side already at 39.3 degrees, the Rockwan 40.1, so only a small difference, but to the right side 38.45 degrees only, while the Rockwan 41.8, so it tilts over earlier than the Rockwan, and that's a big surprise. The only test where the Trailhunter was better was the hill of pebble stones with slippery, smooth pebble stones, where it performed better. Both were super good in my hill of branches. So the Trailhunter isn't really a better performer. Of course, you will love it in the field because it doesn't have this bulky bumper, but you could take off the bumper. It's cool, but you could take it off, of course. And then the Rockwan will have a similar good approach angle. I have to admit, this was a surprise. I thought the Trailhunter would perform really much better, but both are super good in the field. Both had really top performance for a out-of-the-box unmodified truck. And of course, the battery compartment here is a disadvantage, is a downside. So there's a lot of room under the hood, and to put the battery there, and also the ugly on-off switch. And Texoma did already do it. Check the channel of Texoma RC, super cool. And of course, this improves performance. And it's annoying not to be able to take off the hood and to get to the electronics. Both to have the same receiver unit, receiver ESC light controller unit with a ton of functions. I made a special video about this. However, the Rockwan does have a lot of light functions, including turning lights. You can switch them off, but then you can switch them on, and you have hazard lights, while the Trailhunter does only have one single light function, that is on-off but it does come with warm LEDs. That's nice. I don't know why they sent the Rockman with cold white LEDs. Not with those ones. Those I mounted, those ones are cold white. So I complained, maybe they heard it, and now they use warm white LEDs here. But it would be super, super nice if you could take off the body simply, easily, and work on the electronics. As in the Atlas 6x6. Maybe an Atlas 6x6 hood would even fit here, but the hood is okay. I will take the bodies off now and then we will compare the chassis. It's not super difficult in the Rockman, of course. Take simply the front bumper off, and it's not that easy in the Trail Hunter. You do not have to take off the cage or the bed to take the body off. The body does have 7 screws you have to remove. 2 here, and then you have to take out the front bumper, and 5 on the back side. And on the back side there are 2 lower ones here and 2 lower ones here, and a high up one on the center side. And if you take out the bumper and remove the 4 screws, 2 on the left and 2 on the right side, you can bend the hood a little bit, and with a long small screwdriver you can take out the uppermost single screw and then take off the body. So, body of the Rockman off, but I lied, I did not take off the cage and the bed of the Trail Hunter, because that's annoying. A lot of screws you have to disassemble, and it's not better now to show it only with a cage, because it's the same chassis, more or less. No, not more or less, exactly. But it does have the cage instead of the battery compartment of the Rockman. That's a normal CR-18 or CR-24 too. I guess that's CR-18. Such a battery compartment. Of course, the battery here in rear is not perfect either, but check this out. That's a Hobby Plus CR-18 without P, so no portal axles chassis, and it's exactly the same as the chassis of the Rockman and the Trail Hunter. But the Rockman and the Trail Hunter do have much, much better electronics. Both those electronics are really top performance for out of the box, and a lot of functions. You can change brake. I made a video recently, check the video about the electronics. And of course there would also fit other bodies. However, where was the Atlas 6x6 body I had? Somewhere around here it is. The Atlas body would not fit to the T-Hunter without modifying the cage. But what I wanted to show you is the T-Hunter does have longer shocks than the Rockman. However, the T-Hunter does have normal Hobby Plus shocks, I guess. I do have a bag full of those cheap plastic shocks, and the T-Hunter does have the same length. Those are even CR-24 shocks of my very first one, while the Rockman does have shorter shocks. Check it out, significantly shorter, maybe about a centimeter, 10 mil. And a lot of people want to upgrade the Rockman or the T-Hunter. I can tell you, if you want to upgrade anyway, it doesn't matter for performance if you buy the T-Hunter or the Rockman. If you want to stay with this body, that's okay. But then I will for sure change the battery to front position, make a clamp here, or maybe even exchange it and put electronics here on this position between motor and electronics. Here's the on-off switch, and of course I will change the shocks. There's a super cool mod from Texoma, super easy mode with the stock shocks of the T-Hunter. However, I did already order the metal oil shocks, quite pricey, and we will see how those perform. And what else to do. If you work and try to tinker around with the CR-18s and CR-24s, no matter if P with portals or not, I highly recommend. There's a screw set. I did already put it in my screw box. That's my CR-1824 screw box, where you also have those special screws you need, and it's super cheap, and it's nice to have all the screws if one works around and tinkers around. The screws are quite annoying, Phillips head, but this size of screws with hex head, I never saw it. Most of them are for plastic, so if someone, those are no machine screws, those are those plastic screws, and I don't know. I did never, and I'm playing with Hobby Plus trucks for 3-4 years now. I never found hex screws, which would be much nicer, because those Phillips head here are quite annoying. Then people tell they want to make servo on axle. Of course, what you see here, check the steering pump. That's because of frame mounted servo with panhard bar, which should reduce the steering pump, but it's not so easy in Hobby Plus trucks, at least in the CR-18s with the 050 motors. However, I did make a servo on axle mount. That's for a different truck. Super simple, and you can download it on Thingiverse if you want. It's only a modification of this servo mount for the RGT axles. There will be out many better ones, but if you want to play around with this, then you can use it. I'm sure if this works, people or companies will bring out metal mounts soon, and then I also will buy the metal mounts. They work perfectly. However, if you want to go four-wheel steering, servo on the rear side, this needs modifications here and also here, because you would have to, it touches the bed. And in front you have this problem with the panhard bar. That's the same problem in all CR-18s, because there is a link missing that you can see here, and this link, it's not the problem. You can buy spare links. I even do have many, but the motor is here, and so you can't mount this link. You can turn the motor, but then you still have the problem here. And I did already play around with this in CR-18s and CR-24s, and it was not so easy. And I finally didn't do it. My Kratos, I made a video, but it does perform awesome even without steering or servo on axle mount. In the CR-24s, however, that's a modified one. That's much easier, because they do, oh man, where do I have an unmodified CR-24? Because they do have the 030 motor, and you see it has four-link steering. So in those, servo on axle would be much easier to do if you want, but it performs awesome with servo on frame here. But in the CR-18s and CR-18Ps, this needs some modifications. The FCX24 transmission, the central transmission, it's cheap, 2-speed, and this should be not a big deal to mount it, at least in the Rock Van, because the Rock Van does have such a lot of room. It's such a super cool truck, so with a bit of modifications this could work. I will test it maybe on a normal CR-18, it's the same stuff. In the Trail Hunter, however, it will again be a big problem, because this cage is a problem. So not so easy in the Trail Hunter if you want to keep the cage and the stock body, and much easier in the super nice Rock Van. I guess I will make this one black. And of course there will also fit further bodies. For example, this one, that's from a normal CR-18 Convoy, whatever. That's from the builder's kit. I still didn't paint it. Check it out. I guess I saw already a picture of a CR-18P portal with a body similar to this one. So this should fit. They do have 155 millimeters, the old CR-18s without portals, so 3 millimeter less wheelbase, but this shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, that's it. What you can buy, what I did already buy, not yet test, are metal gears, of course. And you can also buy the whole transmission with metal gears already. It's quite cheap, and it does come with the 050 55T torque motor of the CR-18s, now with even brass pinion. That's a super nice motor. If you checked my motor test videos, the motor of the old CR-18s, which came with plastic pinion, it was super good and super budget. So metal upgrade gears could be fine. I don't know how the plastic ones will hold up. And modifications, of course, there's a lot of room for modifications. I hope some of you guys will try servo on axle too, because maybe with servo on axle this annoying lifting of the left front tire, more annoying in the Trail Hunter than in the Rock Van, will stop. I'm not sure if that's a problem of the Panhard par. We will see, but it will be difficult. Waiting for your modifications how to do this. And I hope this video showed you the advantages and disadvantages of both of those trucks. And even if you want performance, I would recommend to buy the Rock Van. Remove the bumper, which reduces its approach angle. It looks super cool without bumper too. Then it has the same approach angle as the T-Finder, and modifications are much easier. And yeah, put the battery in front here. That will be quite a bit of work. Battery in front, maybe electronics here, battery there. We will see. Of course, the body of the Rock Van, if you want performance, is much heavier than the super light cabin of the T-Hunter. That's very thin plastic, Lexan plastic, and that's thicker, I think. So that's it for this video. Buy the one you like more. I prefer the Rock Van. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope to see you in the next video. I'll be back.